Welcome guys to another day and the final day we have of the regular season of Clash Royale League Asia. My name is Joseph, joining with me as always is going to be Simon, back again for the goodness of Simon that we have missed oh so long, and you are back to cast the last day of regular season. How do you feel?
I feel great. I mean, I flew in this morning and I'm here now, and I am super pumped for this last day of Clash Royale.
Good stuff and ready to go, and we got the last day. It's going to be the Japan versus Southeast Asia that has been going on for the past couple of days. It's going to be the third and final day of this weekend. The final day of Conference Division before we get to the playoffs. Starting off with the wildcards that will be next Saturday, but before that we have two matches to take care of, because before that nothing is going to be decided quite yet.
Yeah, nothing's decided right yet, but these regions are pretty close, if I remember correctly. What's the current standings between the two, in case people haven't seen?
And you haven't seen it either. I mean, you've been around. You've been missing around. Simon, we're going to get you back on track, because we need you to get filled in on this one, because the overview, we're going to look at that for now. But, you know, we've been looking at Southeast Asia, obviously, the fourth wildcard spot. That's the one that we're trying to decide here, because it can really be anyone. We thought, you know, a team coming from Korea, Japan, and Southeast Asia maybe going to the wild cards, but it seems like them being the bottom of the standing makes it a little bit difficult for them to move up. But I think this is the only thing that we haven't decided quite far. Just looking at fourth place, we're already getting at OG and Entis, Pono Sports, and Sandbox already in the mix, and might just get another Japanese team, but still they do have some games that need to be played. I think the favorite would be FOF Gaming.
Yeah,
coming
definitely.
off the match one, and they're going to be up against Chaos Theory obviously today, but you know, Brand Esports, once known as one of the best teams in Southeast Asia, maybe they're in contention. We have to find out after the actual results come by, so still have a lot of Clash Royale to finish watching here before we get decided with everything.
Yeah, and we can see here that the playoffs, AHQ Esports Club are seeded into the semi-playoff, Kingzone Dragon X is seeded into the playoff, and GameWith, who finished on top of absolutely everybody, are seeded into the final. And honestly, what a dream for AHQ Esports. They started off so poorly,
I mean,
and then just didn't drop anything.
You're right, and I think they have a similar storyline as to what Sandbox was kind of experiencing in Korea, losing out their first few matches against their domestic teams allies, and eventually you did lose out, and AHQ, just like Sandbox, has been winning a lot of games ever since. And you know, here they are on the first page for whatever reason. They have 6 wins and 5 losses, going to be equal with OGN. Is just going down in terms of head-to-head points, but otherwise AHQ has been highly successful. It's definitely a success story of the Southeast Asia region, and we're looking at the kind of the crowns being put on for the teams that have been secured into a specific slot in the tournament. And we're going to go to the second page where it's a little bit less decided. We're going to decide the final one today.
Yeah, it could be between FAV Gaming or Brent Esports, as OPGG Skeleton have finished all of their games. What about OG and Entis? Like, they've had a bit of a tumultuous run through this tournament. They've won one, lost one, won one, lost one here and there. Yet they're still here, and they're seeded into the wildcard tournament. It's crazy.
I mean, they never really had a clean win by any example. I mean, they've always gone through real struggles to at least get a win. And sometimes they eke out a win, but it doesn't feel like a win, you know what I mean? And that's what you're getting in with OG and Entis, and they've gotten numerically the right amount of wins to get themselves now into the playoffs, into the wildcard, just barely eking in there. But you know, we do have these two matches that will decide our last team for the wildcards. It's going to be also important into deciding who our last contender is going to be, because it's going to be the one to face off against the top contenders going for the wildcard tournament. That will be crazy starting next week as well.
Yeah, any team that's not making it into the postseason this time round, they're going to be looking to improve themselves and see what they can do next time round. There is one more Clash Royale League Asia this year, and the teams are looking for their best 1v1 players. They're looking for the best 2v2 teams. They're going to be doing this kind of testing things out for the last week. Even though they haven't made it, they still have a lot to prove.
I mean, the experiments will come through. I think you're right, Simon, and we're going to go with the teams that maybe aren't in contention anymore. We talk about the teams that are currently in. It's going to be probably FOF Gaming or Brent Esports. One of these two will probably make it to the wildcards, if not anything. And the head-to-head scoreline will tell us which of them gets through. But all in all, you know, we're looking at this situation because we're going to get these teams that are not really going to go in. Chaos Theory obviously way at the bottom. Destination Gaming bottom for Japan. These teams have a lot to prove starting from next season. I think already we're getting an idea of certain players that came in later in parts of the season have started to prove themselves where they would have came in earlier in the season. They would have gotten a lot more wins for their team. And of course, the record line is set in stone now, and we're going to see, how these players improve and how these teams improve over time, especially once it gets time for the next season.
Yeah, Destination Gaming had a pretty good start to this tournament and then kind of just fell off a little bit towards the end, and that can happen. This is an exhausting league. This is 8 weeks non-stop, back and forth flying around. It really does depend on the stamina of the players. This is definitely a marathon, not a race. And we're now seeing the teams who maybe pace themselves a little bit better come out on top.
And it is just 8 weeks of regular season, right? And we just even forgot about the postseason. That's going to add a couple of more weeks till we get there. Wild cards, talking about the playoffs, and the semi-playoffs before that, and the playoffs after that, then the finals. 4 more weeks. 12 weeks in total. That's a lot of loss of weeks. And 3 full months of Clash Royale action that you always have to abide by, and all these players, they will always keep that in their mindset as they kind of approach each weekend out, because the records will show that some teams are doing better than others, and these teams that are now going to the playoffs, they're going to have a different mindset, trying to go for that finals and eventually the championship victory.
Yeah, do you think it's going to play against Game With having so many weeks off, because they're going to miss 2 weeks of Clash Royale action? Surely, they've had this role of just winning game after game after game. Maybe this break will kind of make them rusty. You never know.
I'm a believer, though. I'm a believer of Game With that works really hard. I believe they're a disciplined team that they will not just sit around and just lie down and just be lazy about that 3 weeks of preparation. They definitely will take all those 3 weeks, each day and out, and they're going to be trying to get better as players and as a team. And especially for the 2v2 compartment, to make sure they're a lot more secure. So whoever their challenge becomes to be, once we get to the finals, they'll be ready for anything, and it's going to be see how they work out.
Yeah, Fav Gaming, definitely some of the favorites here. Yakitori Red and Kent Sumeshi today. They're ready to fight. They're ready to do this. It's going to be Chaos Theory's JTV, Ray Baggis, and Trainer Dexters, because we didn't talk about the team rosters. And Yakitori, Rad, and Kent Sumeshi. Rad and Kent Sumeshi had such a good run in 2v2, and then they just kind of fizzled out a little bit more. But first match is going to be JTV versus Yakitori. This should be a really, really good game.
It really is, and JTV just getting right in there. Of course, they had a lot more successful games early in the season, but had to rotate around with many different players from Chaos Theory. Trainer Dexter, he tried his best, and Ray Baggis and Yu-Gi-Oh! They all had their chances trying that 1v1, see if they were the better players in a bout, but no one really got the better record as JTV did, especially from the early parts of the season. But he's let me up against Yakitori, and Yakitori is kind of a usual now to come up to these 1v1 stages and really prove his worth and see if he can do it against this Southeast Asian team once again.
Yeah, Chaos Theory are definitely one of the teams that are going to need to go back to the drawing board, I think. They're going to have to do a lot of shuffling to be able to challenge next season. But we see the ban cards come in. Valkyrie for Chaos Theory's JTV and Lava Hound for Yakitori.
And something you haven't caught on, Simon, is that the Valkyrie ban is coming a lot more often than not, and just because of the fact that the defensive capabilities are so improved, and the increased health, and of course, most importantly, the first attack initial speed. And that's going to be the important one to get your skeletons, any of those goblins out there, everything out of the way. It just wipes it into pieces, and it's become very useful as a defensive tool, leading on to a charge for a tank unit going forward for offense. And a lot of players have used that already and have shown good results with this new improved Valkyrie. And it's going to be good enough for Chaos Theory to ban out from the side of JTV.
Yeah, I don't think I've missed anything because my ladder matches have just been absolutely filled to the brim with Valkyries and Wizards.
I agree.
Have we seen many Wizards in the last 2 weeks?
Still a little bit. I think it's just not as frequent because it's so squishy, and definitely the pro players have a counter against it, and I feel like the Wizards are better taken care of, and there are definitely alternatives which players still prefer a lot higher. But I do get your point. In casual play, Wizard with that wider radius and with lots of damage, and it just seems really strong for the level that you're in, especially in Grand Challenge when everything is set to level 7. And Wizards looking so strong along with Valkyries, and Valkyries a lot more popular in the competitive play just because of its unique just swish around and just wipe out all these little pesky minions and also these little goblins out there. So definitely is an option for JTV, but it's going to ban it out this time.
Yeah, we see Yakitori on the screen has only played one 1v1 and lost it. Very interesting that they've moved into 2v2. I'm guessing they're trying things out because the playoffs and I think the final especially has a lot of 1v1 matches. So they've got to try and find other people. You can't just have one 1v1 master.
Yeah.
If you make it to those playoffs, I think it's the set that
it is
after the wild card, right?
It is a best of 5, and there's going to be consisting of 3 1v1s before you even get to set 5. So, 1 2v2 and 3 1v1s just kind of shows you that you need unique players who can perform well on stage, and that will go to the dynamics of which team will do well in the playoffs. I think that's a different question as to what we usually ask of. When a team plays the best of 3, you only need basically just one 1v1 player. And if you're set in stone, then you can go with that. And it's been looking good. I feel like some teams are better than others in that. They have a lot more unique players that are ready for the best of 5 format. And see, of course, 5 Gaming trying to test their own, because starting from the Walkers, if they do make it, then they're going to have to work with quite a bit and trying to see what they can do with it.
Yeah, I can definitely see teams like King's Own Dragon X struggling a little bit because Expo Master is essentially the best player on the team, hands down.
Yeah.
No questions asked. But other teams like Sandbox, for example,
Sure.
they have so many strong 1v1 players.
That have really proven themselves, right? I mean,
Yeah.
talking about Shinchu just really being a recent addition to that Hall of Fate lineup for the side of Sandbox, who has done so well in 1v1. Beaver's just a casual, just a person that always steps up for that 1v1 play. And there are so many people that can uniquely do well in 1v1 stages, and that's what will benefit the team the most in terms of the playoff format, because it will be best of 5. But for the time being, it is still best of 3, as we're getting for the last matches here and the last day of matches of the regular season before we get to the wild cards and see what happens. But starting off with an Expo defensively.
Yeah, from Yakitori. 5 Gaming's Yakitori is in red at the top of the screen. Drops down that Expo. Is going to take out that Goblin Hut quite easily, and it's not going to reach the tower. That is definitely the best spot for a defensive Expo. But we have JTV dropping the P.E.K.K.A. at the back, at the bottom in blue.
See, the P.E.K.K.A. just trying to reach the Expo, and maybe the tower. That will be a lot better, but now we see the poison being played out, so it doesn't have to get aggroed all the way to the Expo. It's going to take care of that.
Yeah, and there's the Miner at the back. Miner Poison is such a good combination. It's just so good. But we see Yakitori's Expo on the left-hand side connects beautifully with that tower. How much damage is it going to get done?
The Zappies actually are really good for this one, but it gets destroyed right away. And we talked about it earlier, what the Expo can do. You need to save up your elixirs to make sure you have the right defense in case an offensive Expo does show up just like that. And look at the distraction there, and just the Royal Ghost really has nowhere to go from there, and doesn't even get a single decent hit onto the Expo, and is going to take the tower.
Yeah, that Expo was so valuable here for Yakitori. Just absolutely demolishes that tower. Great timing, knowing that his opponent has used quite a lot of elixir. Drops down the Expo uncontested.
This is painful right there. 6 elixirs in trade for that 5 elixirs of the Goblin Hut. Rocket destroying the hut and also taking a decent damage onto the tower. Definitely going to be a trade 1 for Yakitori once again, but look at this once again. It's going to be mostly about the P.E.K.K.A. Once again, defensive Expo being used.
Yeah, notice that this time it's a little bit more to the left. That makes the P.E.K.K.A. move a little bit further before it can connect with the Expo, meaning it's going to get a little bit more damage. The mini P.E.K.K.A. comes down. Ice Spirit as well. That P.E.K.K.A. is not long for this world, but the Miner comes in at the back. Starts doing damage. Is completely uncontested. The Expo connects. Gets it down to 971 damage. With the Royal Ghost coming in, if that could ever connect, that's going to take that tower pretty low, but perfect placement by Yakitori means that none of those units get through.
Okay, look at the mini P.E.K.K.A. Just going to be swiped down. How's he going to deal with this P.E.K.K.A. though? This is going to be the important one, as just got lured away perfectly there, and just going to take the free shots, all of them in the world. But we see now the Miner trying to be taken care of. Prediction doesn't come through, but 5 more seconds, and I don't think 789 will be taken care of by JTV in that time, and it's going to be a GG. Going over to Yakitori, who gets that Game 1 victory in a very clean fashion.
Yeah, that Expo on that left-hand side just did way too much damage, and JTV just had no answer whatsoever to it.
I mean, you gotta talk about just overuse of that elixir early in that rotation. He saw the defensive Expo, so definitely knew that Expo was there. And it could come through the rotation to the cycling, and an offensive Expo will be there in time. But JTV overspent the elixirs, to be honest, and once that offensive Expo came on right on that bridge, he had no elixirs. What was he supposed to defend with? But by the time he got about 4 elixirs and tried to summon the Zappies, he also talking about
Yakitori?
Yeah, talk about Yakitori having the Fire Spirits ready to go with that 2 elixir, just destroy, and gets another +2 elixir trade, and we'll get you. Just everything defensive-wise, just protect your Expo was the plan for Yakitori, and definitely gets the job done there.
Yeah, if it wasn't for those Fire Spirits, I think the Zappies would have taken out the Expo, and we'd have seen a completely different game from there. But as it stands, those Zappies just went down way too easily. That Expo just reconnected onto the tower after having a brief, I think it targeted an Ice Golem maybe or something like that. It targeted something else. And then it's just like, all right, I'll just kill the tower. No problem. Perfect Expo play by Yakitori.
Really was, and bit of a mistake included there as well for JTV. But can he limit his mistake this time around? Because without it, Faf's going to take a quick victory. But Yakitori trying to take a 2-0. It's going to be the objective here.
Yeah, so we have Yakitori for Fav Gaming in red at the top, and JTV for Chaos Theory in blue at the bottom of the screen. Both players just storing up those elixirs, and Yakitori does use that Zap to cycle. Not going to be the worst of things to do.
Just going to go for the opposite lane attack here.
Yeah, interesting positioning on that miner.
Oh, what?
So much damage getting done.
Does he literally have nothing?
What is going on with JTV here? He should have cleaned that up so much quicker than he did. 848 remain. At this point in the game, that tower is not long for this world.
Oh, okay, but he's going to go for all in here, this minion horde.
Oh, but look at that tower. It's going down so quickly.
He has nothing for it. What about the King's Tower? Have a fancy at it, but the Zap will come back in rotation.
Yeah, but Yakitori calmly uses those rascals to take out that left-hand side tower. And now we've reset. Both players roughly at the same point. Of course, there's a little bit more damage done to Yakitori's King Tower, but that doesn't really come into account unless it's below the HP.
Ooh, look at this.
Oh, perfect Elixir Collector placement. Just distracting that miner. But again, the Goblin Gang, look how much damage they did.
Just leave it alone, and it's going to do incredible amounts of damage at level 9 Goblin Gang. And we saw the plays throughout, and we're going to see the Mortar trying to be targetable here, but it's going to head towards that other direction. Going to use a Zap towards the minion horde. See what we can get out of it. The Goblin Gang coming through.
Yeah, this is the Mortar Rascal deck that we see quite a lot in Grand Challenges.
Just about a week ago, though. I mean,
it's kind of fallen out of favor right now, but it's still a very popular deck.
Definitely, and we're going to see the 3 Musketeer. This is definitely not the Grand Challenge that we're so used to, but Miner just demolished as soon as it comes in. The Mortar. What damage can it do? Defensively, that's going to be the important point here.
Yeah, Rascal summoned there just to take out that battering ram, but the Giant is going straight for the Mortar. That's going to be bad for Yakitori at this point.
Okay, you're going to look at this here, and again, just defensive efforts now. Trying to get through. The Miner putting out once again. Now the Goblin Gang mispredicted there, and that's going to be a trouble. Taking a few more damage there to 1075 on the count.
Just gone under 1,000 HP on that bottom right-hand side. This looks like Yakitori's games. He's playing without like any kind of hesitation, because he's been playing those miners in very dangerous positions. If JTV had any kind of tornado in this deck, he would have activated his Crown Tower long before those towers went down.
Definitely, and we're going to see how that works now, because the miner is still trying to do work. And once again, a misprediction by the Goblin Gang is going to get a couple more hits by the miners. And how far can this one get? Because 545 on the count.
Oh, but look how much damage has been done to that King Tower at the top. 1,173. I said it wouldn't matter, but JTV has just pulled the trigger on that thing.
Okay, looking at this now, just has to sacrifice Spear Goblins to Elixir just to take not enough damage. And look at this, once again Miner, very well predicted there that time around. And going to go down to 394.
Yeah, at this point, any tower could go down. We could see Yakitori's Crown Tower go down. We could see JTV's Crown or Princess Tower go down. And either of those will finish the game. Good zap. That makes sure that these rascals can take down those minions really, really quickly. But that Giant turns around at the last second with that mortar turret. And that means it's going to connect onto the Goblin Gang. Takes it out relatively quickly, but the mortar is down. The Goblin Gang has been finished. There's 394 in that tower. Miner comes in, perfect battering ram placement there.
And the Goblin, just to make sure, gets no single target. Onto the target, and we're going to see us here. And Rascal Girl, not even getting a single hit, 100 HP. We know what that means, that a log plus a zap will get the job done, but can they buy enough time to get this done? But not even going to go for it, as the Rascal Girl trying to finish him off. The Rascal Boy with a whack is going to finish off the game, and a 2-0 clean finish for Yakitori.
Yeah, Yakitori made that game look super easy, super composed when it came to that, because he could have lost that game. He had such a commanding lead at one point, and then suddenly JTV just starts chipping away at that Crown Tower. He could have won it.
There you go. Yakitori looking so clean there and getting the victory over his opponent, and looking like Chaos Theory is going to be the bottom place team. And it just makes a lot more sense now. And just FOV Gaming kind of in contention to make it to the wild card. There's still a team that wants to keep playing in Season 1, but we still have the other side of the coin where Chaos Theory try a couple of things, but that 1v1 game with JTV looking like one of their stronger 1v1 players out there, it has definitely been schooled in multiple ways, making it look so clean for the side of Yakitori.
Yeah, FOV Gaming, Yakitori, it's just, they had no challenge in that game. It looked like JTV gave up right at the beginning. Like that first game, he didn't even seem to try and defend.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk badly about him, but it did look like he just kind of gave up. But we are going to get into the 2v2. This is redemption time now for Chaos Theory. Ray Bagus and Trainer Dexters against Kentsumeshi and Rad. Kentsumeshi and Rad have been on an absolute tear in this league.
But at the same time, Kentsumeshi was known as that 1v1 player who always plays in that first set. Usually with Yakitori and Rad. Going to be the usual 2v2 duos, but this time Kentsumeshi joins in the mix and tries to figure out what he could do best with his teammates, and he's going to be ready. He's got all smiles and feeling no pressure at all, because 2v2, if they feel like they can get this win rather easily.
Yeah, I guess changing things around here, putting Rad and Kentsumeshi in the 2v2 does allow one of them to go forward and play in the ace match as well, if Yakitori isn't feeling it. But Poison and Tornado Ban, very, very standard bans in 2v2.
Very much allows the beatdown deck to be possible. You have 2 less spells that could just stop out your push coming through, and that means we have the cards ready to go. They're going to have to compose it for the 3 minutes that are allowed to get them ready for game 1 for both teams now.
Yeah, we could definitely see the Japanese Spellbait Goblin Barrel deck that we see quite a lot from a lot of teams, actually. A lot of teams kind of took that strategy, tried to make it their own, but the Japanese teams were just so much better at using those decks. So when it comes to that deck versus that deck, when one team is Japanese and one team is not, usually the Japanese teams win.
And it was, and we saw that deck being used against the Japanese teams multiple times, even against the beatdown decks brought by the Japanese, and just means that they know the in and outs of how that works out in terms of the deck dynamics within the card interactions, and the Japanese team usually good at fending off all the threats coming in from multiple Goblin Barrels on both sides there. So it just means that, whenever you want to play the Japanese man against the Japanese, then you have to be absolutely ready to make sure that you're ready to go to take them down. Yeah,
it's really hard to take down these Japanese teams in 2v2. They've shown time and time again that they're the ones leading the meta in the 2v2 tournament, in the 2v2 games, right?
Yeah.
We saw very early on the Dark Goblin usage, which then got transferred into other teams' 2v2 games. Then we see these Goblin Barrel decks come in, and then every other team starts using Goblin Barrel. So the Japanese teams are leading the way in the 2v2 meta right now.
Basically the trendsetters, and everyone follows that trend right after. And we know the Koreans are definitely the trend followers for most of the games, and once they pick up and once they gather the data and just study over that, then they become a better team. And now Korea, I mean, these teams are getting better each week by week, and Japanese teams, they've been good from the get-go, from very much the week one, and have been just evolving forward. But Southeast Asia, this is a warring region that we felt like they were competitive in the first few weeks, but once it came down to the middle of the season, by the end of the season, while we're at week 8 now, they just don't seem as strong. They seem like they're at the same level as they were from the first few weeks and haven't evolved too much. But other than AHQ, just feels like the disappointments were definitely there for the couple of teams.
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, but between Korea and SEA last week, it ended 8-0 to Korea, right?
Definitely.
That's crazy results, because going from the end of week 3 into week 4, it looked like Korea was one of the weaker regions because they just got absolutely manhandled by Japan.
Right around that time span, I actually thought that Korea was weaker than Southeast Asia. I put Southeast Asia above, especially because of HQ doing well and also Brand Esports doing well. I feel like that region alone does well against the Korean teams who have been disappointing in the first few weeks, as we always mention. But here we are, looking a lot better for the Koreans and looking a lot more stale for the side of Southeast Asia, and see if they can pick things up. But they have to go through 5 gaming first to see if they can stop them from making it to the wildcards.
Yeah, we're just getting ready to go into this 2v2 between Ray Baggers, Trainer Dexters for Chaos Theory, and Rad and Kensameshi for Fav Gaming. Who is going to take it? Who do you think is going to win this one, Joel?
I mean, it just really makes sense that with the 1v1 momentum that has already been shifted their direction, Rad and Kensameshi, I think they're just ready to finish it off now and just get the game underway. And 2-0 clean finish, maybe. I think it just might be coming.
Yeah, and if that happens, this will be one of our quickest games, I think, of this tournament. If this finishes 2-0, this is just going to be really, really quick.
I agree.
And we see, once again, it is basically barrel versus barrel decks.
So Japanese versus Japanese in terms of meta, but Fireball being used now. Once again, look at the Dark Goblin getting ready to get played, and looking for this, and still lots of darts coming through.
Look how much damage got done there. 1742 on that bottom right-hand side. These players, I mean,
the arrows.
Fav Gaming just know what they're doing.
It's done. And if their primary source of attack is supposed to be the Goblin Barrel, maybe the Miner can get a few hits, but that Dark Goblin will clean up an iffy. And if you got the log and the arrow, that Goblin Barrel deck does not work against you.
No, and they get another few hits there with that Goblin Barrel down to 1305. Yeah. This is not going well for Chaos Theory.
I mean, as long as they can basically predict that every time coming through, and the Dark Goblin even doing its part. Look at this. Log coming through, no problem there. Yeah, no damage whatsoever.
Gonna kill
and even that Dark Goblin, oh my goodness, maximum value already.
A P.E.K.K.A. summon. That is not what you want against a bait deck like this, because there's just way too many tools to keep that P.E.K.K.A. away from your tower.
This truly is just desperation effort now from Ray Baggers and Trainer Dexter. They know there's no way they're going to win with barrels and miners. And look at that, just arrows every time. They have the defense every single moment of the way in. Even the Prince is taking care of that. Just have to be careful not to in the King's Tower, but look at this. Continual pressure. How can they turn back from this one? Another Goblin Barrel. Do they have the log for this? They don't, and they have to defend with the guards. It's going to be a very weak defense on that compartment.
Yeah, that tower also takes quite a bit of damage. The Dark Goblin at the back. There goes the barrel. Oh, perfect look. Completely read exactly where that barrel was going. This has been an absolute showing of how to play this deck by Fav Gaming here today.
I mean, one team is definitely playing it better than the other, and we definitely know which the answer is. And look at that. Just everything in play. Even the Infernal Dragon having a hard time getting there because all these skeletons coming from the graveyard.
Yeah, another barrel comes in. This one is answered once again with that Fireball. So many spells need to be used to take out these barrels. but there's just still so much coming forward here for Fav Gaming.
Look at that P.E.K.K.A. It's just never worth it. He even has an Infernal Dragon to take care of the P.E.K.K.A.
Yeah, but there is an Electro Wizard there. That's going to mean that this P.E.K.K.A. could get close to the tower, but I just don't think it's going to happen.
It's done, and there's no way this is going to happen unless we see the defense fall apart for the side of Fav Gaming. I feel like this is going to be over. There's not enough defense for the side of Chaos Theory, and what are you going to do? Just lose an Elixir trade every time, and that Infernal Dragon just might take it, but down to 397. As if it wasn't close enough. Then they're going to go for the right tower. The left tower had 196. They went for the right tower on the rocket. That had about 400. Come on.
Yeah, well, I mean, both of those towers are ridiculously low. They could have chose any tower to take that game. And honestly, Fav Gaming, once again, manhandling Chaos Theory there. Wasn't even close.
Can it get easier? I mean, they literally had the counter deck to it. They had the log on both players. They had the arrows on both players. Literally force Princess just out of the question. Direct spell counters. You have 4 spells on your deck that can counter 2 Goblin Barrels. And you can bait out more because you have enough to kill out the Princess, kill out the Dark Goblin, anything you want. Goblin Gangs out of there. There's no answer for that kind of composition when you're countered that hard.
Yeah, I mean, it is a shame for Chaos Theory because they came in using that Goblin, basically Spellbait deck, but they went against a very similar deck that the Japanese have proven time and time again that they are masters of this deck. They can take pretty much, I'm going to say it now, I think they can take anybody with that deck.
I mean, you gotta look at the beatdown there. Obviously, having the arrows does not help. I mean, the logs do a lot better, so that's why people don't usually go for the arrows unless the log is banned out. We've seen that a couple instances where the log has been banned out. So as an alternative, arrows goes pretty well. But other than that, against the beatdown deck, that makes a little bit of a different decision because you have the Infernal Dragon, but not just a couple of Electro Wizard. None of that really utility is there. So you gotta give it more time as to what the perfect deck is, because I just don't think there is. But it's a good deck against the deck that have been played against. But see how the players do in the next game will be also interesting to look at.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Arrows is also okay against beatdowns, especially if they're carrying minion hordes.
Okay.
It's a +1 Elixir trade for the Arrow user. It does take it down instantly.
It's a +2 if it gets right, but 5 to 3, but
I can't count. I thought it was. I was like 5 and 3. That's 1. I mean,
You had a week off. I mean, we can forgive you for anything. Literally, G-Clef came in last week and told us 8 divided by 12 was 75%.
What?
Yeah, he did that. So it's like, I corrected him and gave him the 66 points, 66666%. That's what you're gonna get with that division right there. Me and my 4th grade mathematics right there.
Your 4th grade mathematics are way better than mine because I was sitting there. I was just thinking that is 75%. Oh,
you're still in 4th grade, Simon.
Oh no.
Oh my word.
All right, the timeout has finished, and we are about to get into game number 2 between Ray Baggis and Trainer Dexter's for Chaos Theory, who are in the blue, and Fav Gaming's Rad and Kent Sumeshi in the red at the top of the screen.
And you gotta give credits. Kent Sumeshi doing pretty well in that 2v2 stage where he's definitely not used to playing in that format. So, kudos to him. Did very well.
Yeah, I think all teams right now, anyone who is on the verge of qualifying or has qualified, they need to be trying out these 1v1 players because 1v1 becomes a lot more important in postseason.
Uh-oh, this is a log bait deck, but I don't think they have a log on the side of Chaos Theory. Just my thoughts on things.
They haven't played it. Oh, look at that guard placement. Perfect read once again on that barrel.
That's a really greedy trajectory, though. I mean, it's a little bit easier to tell. These guys are professional you're playing against. They do have the log, but how many did he have? Because the barrels will keep on coming.
Fav Gaming, please. I mean, it's almost as if they've got mind readers right now because anything that Chaos Theory tries to do to eke out an advantage or eke out a positive trade, Fav Gaming are just shutting it down instantly. But the question is, I was just going to say, do Fav Gaming have an answer for this golem? And the answer is yes, they have the Inferno Dragon. but will there be an Electro Wizard placed behind this golem? There's a balloon. Okay, here we go. Will that balloon manage to make it to the tower? Another Inferno Dragon is pulled. And because of that freeze, one hit. We're going to get two.
Two drops?
Two is there, and then the Death Bomb. The Dark Goblins did a good job.
Oh, and a maximum log right there. Oh, about 6 elixirs is gone in an instant. Now they're in a little bit of a rush now, and see the Goblin Barrel trying to do work for the time being, though.
It's still worth saying that even with those bomb drops and even with that tower at 526, I'd still have to say that FAV Gaming have a little bit of an advantage here because both of those towers are very, very unhealthy.
The only win condition is that he has to get both towers now. Just forget about the left side because that's going to be gone in a while. But look at 6 guards.
Yeah,
a bit of a waste. It's miscommunication on the side of Chaos Theory.
I wouldn't say it's a waste because that is so many guards coming forward. But unfortunately, the Princess at the back does shut it down. Has to use the Dark Goblin there against the barrels. Do get 2 hits in. There's another barrel coming out from Chaos Theory. All 3 get 1 hit. 2 get 2 hits. There's 1. Okay. Nice barrel there. 1,277 on that tower. The Golem once again coming in, and another barrel from FAV Gaming.
Huh?
This is non-stop action right now.
Why are they summoning 6 guards every time, though? I thought first one was a little bit of a mistake, but they do it again. That's it. That's it.
Nice and easy for FAV Gaming.
As if they were troubled any point of that game.
It did look rough when that balloon freeze came in. I would have said that with those hits, getting it down to 527, it definitely looked as though Chaos Theory had a chance to take that tower.
I mean,
but they never got close again.
Simon, I just want to ask you one question. I mean, is there a reason for the 6 guards? I mean, 6 elixir summon just for 3 elixir Goblin Barrel. I mean, first time could have been an accident, miscommunication, that's fine, but they do it again.
Yeah, and it didn't even make sense because, I mean, if those goblins, like, go either side of the tower, what you want is, if you're going to do that, you're going to put guards on one side, guards on the other to take it out, right? So, yeah, I think...
Miscommunication twice, maybe?
I don't think it was miscommunication. I think they just were looking for that push forward with those guards. They were going to try and lead with the guards, but the Princess at the back made that completely useless. It shuts it down instantly.
Well, all it needs is basically just a log to swipe down all the shields from the guards. All 6 of them, actually, just with 1 log. And Princess, 1 shot will take all 6 guards down. And I mean, the way you lose is fine. I mean, losing, you can accept that sometimes if you're players, but the way they lost for Chaos 3, for Raybags and Trainer Dexters, it was a little bit disappointing. I would have liked a little more of a competitive edge from these guys, but definitely did not get it there. And even the Golem not even connecting to anything there.
Yeah, the Golem, I don't know if that was the right call to make. You know the Japanese teams are going to be playing this Goblin deck. I personally think they should have tried something a little bit different. And hindsight is obviously, you know, the best thing. But really, FAV Gaming there just manhandled Chaos Theory.
We're going to go up to the interview with FAV Gaming, who just takes that victory.
How is it, Coach? We used to do Rod and Yakitori combination 2v2. But I think we were able to show that Kentsumishi can also play 2v2. Yeah, Yakitori was able to show that he can pull off 1v1 as well, so it was a very great game. It was last game, so were you thinking to change your team color? Yes. Had the wild card. How was it? I was watching from behind. I felt it was very stable, so really nice. How has FAV Gaming changed? We tried new combination. Yakitori is strong in 1v1 as well, and we showed it today. And I think it was very important today. Yakitori, so you played by yourself today. It was my first set today, so I was very nervous. But I trusted my 2v2, so I was able to go easy. What do you learn from 2v2 when you play 1v1?
そうですね。2v2 でやっぱり勝利重ねたのはまあ自信にもなりましたし。
My wins from 2v2 allows me to be comfortable during my 1v1 games
勝利を重ねられたのは良かったなと思います。
and pile up on our winnings actually.
はい。
Previously you were a 1v1 win, and with 2v2 with Ken Tsumeshi it was very nice.
2v2 では僕の方がやっぱ慣れているので、その分
I'm more used to 2v2 than Ken Tsumeshi, so we were able to pull him. Yakitori and Rad pair and Yakitori, Rad and Ken Tsumeshi pair, how does it differ?
やっぱ普段からもうここ1ヶ月2ヶ月ずっとやってきたので、
With Yakitori I've been playing with him only for 1 and 2 months every day with him, so I know him a lot more.
選手とは
But with Ken Tsumeshi it's newer,
慣れていないっていうのがある
so I'm less used to him.
ではしっかり声を出して、
But we were able to do a lot of communication to help each other out. Ken Tsumeshi 2v2. How was it with combination with Rod?
自体が 2v2 すごい戦術を開発するのが得意で、今までゴリゴリだったり枯渇だったりを
It was very difficult actually playing with Rad for the first time, but we were able to help each other out, work together, collaborate, and prepare what Rad was leading through. Yes, and I think I was able to play 2v2 from now on as well. Next wildcard is coming up next week. It's 1 week after, so I'm going to win so that there are no regrets. Congratulations, Fab Gaming.
And that was 5 Gaming. We're back on the mics. And, I want to hear myself. Make sure everybody talking about that. It's 5 Gaming after getting that victory. Looking very nice as they pick up the victory. Very nice for these guys.
Yeah, very simple for Fav Gaming. Didn't look even remotely challenged today, but that's what it is. And I think that means they qualify now?
Yeah, they actually do qualify. So it's made official by our producers that, 5 Gaming officially makes it to wildcard. So and officially, the next match does not matter. But stick around because we will be back for an exciting match after a short break. It will be one to miss. Really not want to miss it out. And we'll be back after a short break. So come back for the next one. Welcome back, guys, to Clash Royale League Asia for the very last time for the regular season, because this will be the very last match of the fixture. And you know, we're looking at this. Brand Esports and Detonation Gaming will round us out for the regular season. Conference division will be over, and we're going to head straight off to the wildcards next week after the conclusion of this one.
Yeah, this game is very much a formality at this point. None of these teams can qualify. Brent Esports started off so brightly with 3 wins and 0 losses, but have only picked up 1 win since then. Chief Glenn, No Aim Sai, Jai, Manny Knoxville, and I think I'm missing somebody. But none of these players have managed to perform after their domestic region.
Could be, and you know, domestically it went very well, but against the foreign teams, they felt the pressure on and couldn't even beat out Detonation Gaming in some instances. That's why they are standing here. Detonation Gaming, one of the bottom teams in Japan, starting at 4 wins and 6 losses. We got Tempura on the lineup for the first time. We'll see how he does. We haven't seen him play necessarily.
Yeah, and then we have Lewis and Ku to round it off. These are probably, I think, the youngest players on this team. I was just looking at the profile, looking at Tempura, because I do believe he is new. But yeah, Lewis, 98, Ku, 2001. The oldest player is actually Matsumoton, who was born in 93.
93 is actually an old age in terms of Clash Royale play, but it's never not limited to older people. When you play this game, people of all ages enjoy this game left and right. And you know, we're looking at ourselves now. We can definitely tell that for how much we enjoy this game.
I can't believe you just said 1993 was old, because
It's
I'm
old.
1987. I'm sitting here and I'm like almost 31, and you're like,
Grandpa!
93 is old, man.
That's
Like,
Grandpa right here. Grandpa Simon. That's Santa. That's going to be Santa Simon right there. I'm going to bring you over for Christmas.
I definitely got the belly for Santa, that's for sure. But we do have the band cards coming.
Oh.
Golem and Rascals band here.
Rascal Man.
Yeah, let's have a lot of fun with this one. I'm going to say we're going to see E-Barbs. If there is a chance
Please.
for E-Barbs to
It's
show
now.
up,
It
it's
is
got to
now.
be now, right?
It is now.
It has to be now.
Oh my goodness. I want to see E-Bars. I think that's the best and the worst card ever created. I mean,
It's completely the worst card ever
it's the
created.
best
Get
card
out.
and the worst card. It can be both at the same time. It's best when you use it. It's the worst when it's used against you.
I would disagree. I think it's the best when it's level 1 and never put in any deck ever.
All you need is one more Elite Barber to level 2.
I think my Elite Barbs are like level 5, because when I first started, I was like losing to them all the time. I was like, level them up, level them up, level them up. And then I was just like, I hate them so much, I don't ever want to play them. I think I have like 3,000 left. I can level them up really high. I just choose not to.
Do it.
I'm not going to.
Get it to level 13.
No, it's not worth it, man. It's not worth it.
It is completely worth it. Do you have a Hog Rider?
I do.
Get that in the mix. You talk about the Hog Rider balloon with the Elite Barber with the Rage, and woo!
I don't play cards like that.
That's fire.
I am against cards like Hog Rider.
That is nutty if I've ever seen one. Hog Rider, Elite Barbarian, Rage, and Balloon.
You may as well just give up right there. That's so much elixir, but you know, unladder if you have level 13 E-Barbs against someone who's only like level 9, you know, it's GG. There's nothing they could do. Just the Rage and the E-Barbs will take it out. What are they going to put down? Oh my goodness, they have Skeleton Army. Oh, look at that. It's a zap. I can afford it. Nothing you can do against E-Barb Rage when there's so many levels above you.
If they're so good, Simon, why is no one playing them?
Because they're not that good at equal levels.
That's
for sure.
I mean, level 9 on tournament level. That's going to be the format being played here. So Chief Glenn, Tempura, while we're dreaming of E-Barbs to come out in competitive play, I just don't think it will happen.
Yeah, let's actually talk about the game. Tempura here is having his debut.
Okay.
I believe this is to get him prepared and warmed up for next season.
Sure.
At this point, you don't want to bring in a brand new player unless you have nothing to lose, right? And, I mean, Detonation Gaming have nothing to lose here.
Yep.
And I think giving him the stage experience before, like, you know, next season gives him chance to take in the atmosphere, take in the pressure, and maybe build on himself over the coming weeks of practice between the seasons. And hopefully this baby-faced youngster will be able to show what he is worth. And even Lewis is giving him a bit of a shoulder massage, making sure that he is ready for his professional debut.
Tempura is a delicious food over in Japan. He named himself after a... Tempura just means fried anything. It's a deep-fried anything. And
yeah, but deep-fried anything is delicious. Everyone knows that.
That's what I'm saying. So tempura, he must be good because whatever he represents is delicious.
I
See
mean,
what he does?
Got a shout out to Scotland here with their deep-fried Mars bars.
Deep-fried what?
You know a Mars bar, right? Like the chocolate?
What is a Mars bar?
Oh my goodness. You know Snickers, right?
Yeah, no Snickers.
Remove the nuts out of that. That's a Mars bar.
Why would you remove the nuts?
Because the nuts are terrible, okay?
Oh!
Remove the nuts. Deep fry a Mars bar. My friend, they are amazing.
That's a topic for a different day, Simon. I am not taking nuts out of my Snickers.
That's a heart attack waiting to happen, though. Deep fried Mars bars. Anyway, today we're going to have Bren Esports Chief Glenn versus Detonation Gaming's Tempura. Tempura in the red, Chief Glenn in the blue. And Chief Glenn starting off with the Miner and the Bats.
Tempura, what's he going to deep fry for us? Gonna deep fry the Miner with his Ice Wizard. For now, Hog Rider. Where are we gonna get the Hog Rider into the Leap Arm?
There's one hit. Does get 2 hits before the Mega Knight finishes him off.
Okay, the Mega Knight is here.
I almost said Mega Prince, and now that would be a card. Can you imagine a Mega Prince?
You're talking about you with your Dark Knights and whatever you want to call them, and then you have the craziest thing of Mega Prince. And
Dark Knight makes sense, right? I'm not the only one here who has watched Monty Python's Holy Grail, right?
Hey, I said basically Dark Knight. I think it's during my first cast of Clash Royale, back in April. It definitely goes back a long way. We're kind of tracking back to what we've been through and long months of continuous Clash Royale action, not even missing a single week.
Oh, the tornado pulls that Miner into the King Tower. Now we see
he deep fries the Miner into the King's Tower. Good job, Tempura.
This is why you always put the Miner on the outside corner of the tower, because that happens. This is why it's dangerous to put the Miner anywhere else, because it's so easy to pull over. But there is that one location where it cannot be pulled at all, and the Hog Rider here just get 1 hit before, being taken out by those massive ball gloves of the Mega Knight.
Mega Knight, I feel like the best counter usually is just to get rid of it, but it has so much HP, and just trying to get to there, but I feel like the Mega Minion does justice there.
Did you just say the best way to get rid of a Mega Knight is to kill it? I'm pretty sure that's how it works, right?
Kill the Mega Knight! How else do you kill it? You gotta kill it.
You're the one who said it, not me.
Hey, I'm just saying.
All right, so the Miner comes in. That log went into nowhere.
Log cycle, maybe?
I guess it was a cycle, because there's not much he can log, just the Goblin Gang. But Chief Glenn has actually split his Goblin Gang over and over again, so you're never going to get true value with the log, so you may as well just cycle it out and make sure that you can get better things. But that Miner is doing work on that top right-hand tower, and Tempura is just pulling that Mega Knight absolutely everywhere. In comes the Hog Rider. He's going to get 2 hits now, because all those minions will die. Gets 3.
4 almost does come through. Got overexcited there. 386.
Almost, but that poison did take out the Mega Knight before it could jump at the Hog Rider, I believe. There's another Hog Rider. This might finish it off. In comes the log. The Mega Knight tries to push it out of the way. Gets 1 hit on the poison.
Tempura deep fries the tower, and we got the Tempura cooking now as he gets the game 1 victory. I'm just going all out because it's the last game. It doesn't matter.
The poison does kind of look like a fryer, right? Like, it's got the oil there,
If my oil looked like that, I wouldn't cook my food in that. I mean, when the oil turns red, that's when you know you've done something wrong.
Or you've done something perfectly right and you've added some amazing flavoring to that oil. But be careful not to, if you're all playing with hot oil, be careful not to spill it on yourself. And please do not set your kitchen on fire.
Our food
Been there, done that. It's not fun.
Our food references are on another level today. As we know, this game does not matter. We're just trying to have fun. course, add the entertainment value with Tempura having its debut, looking very good as he gets the Game 1 victory. See if he can continue.
We were talking about this before. I had portobello fries while I was in America. I had portobello fries, and oh my goodness, portobello mushroom, deep fried with some Parmesan cheese on top, some guacamole dip.
Guacamole? You never told me you had guacamole there.
I didn't tell you it was guacamole dip because I knew what you would be like. It was so good, man.
Oh my word.
It was so good. Tempura could definitely fry up something like that.
Tell him to fry up the portobello. Deep fry that portobello tempura. You up for that one. But he's about to deep fry game 2 because he just wants to finish it off and see what happens.
Yeah, so we are going into game number 2 here between the frying master Tempura and Chief Glenn. Let's see how it goes here.
Okay, let's get the action underway. Oh my goodness, Tempura is just having a great time. Look at him starting off with the Zappy. Just classic way of starting off. Not even going to get hit by that log.
Yeah, that log was just for the cycle. Electro Wizard play down by Chief Glenn. Surely there is a bit of, the old pride at this point at stake because Brent Esports have not had a very good time after their regional division. So let's hope that they can show something here. I do want to see Brent Esports take out Detonation Gaming personally.
Okay. Can happen, but does not change their fate of not going to the wildcards, as the 4th team will be FOF Gaming, as we all know it.
Yeah, the Miner doing some work on that bottom left-hand tower, taking it down just to 2,000 hit points.
Now Chief Glenn does have the Tesla. Does that mean an automatic Expo?
No, this deck it looks too heavy for an Expo, but especially with the Valkyrie E-Wiz. That looks a bit too heavy, but stranger things have happened.
Does it? He's still not revealing his last card, Chief Glenn, and Tempura got the Zappies ready to go in case.
Could be a rocket.
I mean, he saw the Tesla coming down, and he knows the perfect combo. But you're right. It's going to be poison for the last card, so definitely not an Expo deck this time around.
Yeah, it would have been way too heavy. I mean, he could have pulled it off, actually, with the way he's been playing this deck. He's always got a lot of Elixir, and I think the Expo could fit. He doesn't really need that poison, but Minor Poison is such a good combo that it's always worth putting it into your deck.
And we're looking at it now. Chief Glenn still on max Elixir, just going to summon out another series of minor attack. Poison adding on to the damage. Still not going to damage out the rest here, but what do we see here?
A balloon.
Very aggressive.
But that
here.
Tesla is going to draw the attention of the balloon, which means the Mega Minion, I believe that was played. Oh, sorry, it was an Electro Wizard. Yeah, that balloon got nowhere near the tower.
Tempura is getting deep fried right now, and he needs to get back on track.
I'd say he's being lightly fried right now. I wouldn't say deep fry right now because this is a very even game. Even though that tower is down to 1,570, I mean, nothing has really stood out as like, I'm completely wiping the floor with you at this point.
Oh, making all of these slurred references. Very dodgy there, Simon.
What, wiping the floor?
Yeah.
You never know. You might want to deep fry some dirt off the floor, But the all the electricity going around here, like
the Tesla is just insanely powerful here, and just really good defensive tool. Fireball there to take care of it, but Balloon's still having a hard time connecting.
Yeah, but that Miner play to the back, and the Valkyrie does miss her spot, allowing that Miner to get an extra hit off there.
Look at the left. On that poison.
The poison, and the Miner taking it out.
Down to 567, down to 513 in the end. These Zappies definitely are not working on this time around. Okay,
balloon from Tempura finally placed down that balloon, and it completely ignores the Tesla tower. It's going to connect. It's going to get a few hits. There's the fireball, one hit.
Are you serious?
We're going to get
Are
two.
you serious? Oh, it's done! It's done! Chief Glenn lost! Tempura deep fried it once again. Left tower gone! Game 2! Over to this guy.
That balloon out of nowhere getting that connection. That tower was almost at full health.
It was at full health. It had 2.2k.
What?
My goodness. That's what you get when you get double drops on the balloon. And having to talk about the heart being thrown out. He likes fried food, he says. And I agree. I like fried food as well.
Who doesn't? But Chief Glenn there had such an advantage and just lost it. You know? What can he do from there?
I don't know. I like to tell you, but this game doesn't matter. We can't forget that. I mean, this one does not make the difference on the standings. So they'll be here going to 2v2. It's not all over yet. I mean, if you want Brand Esports to win, they can still do it in a 2v2. They can come back in ace match. Remember that.
But pride is at stake. I know you say like it doesn't matter for the standings, but for both these teams, like winning this game actually means a lot to them. Finishing the season on a win is a lot better than finishing the season on a loss.
Definitely, I have to agree with you on that one. Just getting in preparation for that next season. I'm sure Brand Esports once at the top of their standings in terms of Southeast Asia in comparison. Detonation Gaming were never the best team in Japan, never was and never is, and still feels like they're not that team right now. But Brand Esports, they had a really big of a pride to play for. You were talking about for the first few weeks, they were the best team in Southeast Asia, but no longer so, as they might not be able to beat out Detonation Gaming now.
Yeah, you said like Detonation Gaming are not the best team in Japan. True, but that region is so stacked.
It is. You're right.
Fav are really, really good. Ponos, amazing. Game With, unbelievable. I mean, Detonation Gaming are just good. You know what I mean?
Sure. Is Brand Esports good? That's the question I want to ask.
After the showings after week 3, 4, I would say no.
They only won 1 game and lost 6 games, I believe?
Something like that, yeah. They've lost so many games since their regional division. And if I was part of Brand Esports, it's very, very concerning, you know? Loss after loss after loss really does take a toll on players. Like, the morale is at an all-time low, for example. But we see the bans come out. Lava Hound banned by Brand Esports and Tornado banned for Detonation Gaming.
It's probably going to allow for... Look at Tempura heading out that folder. Very nice of this guy. He's such a sweet kid.
That's a clipboard, my friend. That's not a folder. That's a clipboard.
You never know. That plastic might just fold.
Hey, you know, any person with a clipboard clearly knows what they're doing.
Someone's having a good time over there, just laughing his pants off. Look at that.
I don't know what kind of joke was told here, but something went right for Brand Esports.
They're clicking, man. They're clicking. Brand Esports is clicking.
It's good, though, that they have this kind of, you know, even though they're losing and even though they haven't had the best of seasons, they're all still friends. They're all still having a joke. Yep. And that is kind of what you want going forward. If your players do have skill, but they're just not playing well, if that team is gelled together, you might want to stick with it.
Right.
It's like soccer, you know?
It is. It is like football, and just like chemistry is always such an important thing in team sports. And, you know, Clash Royale, we thought it was just an independent type of video game when you're talking about just playing by yourself in that 1v1 scenario. But with these introductions to 2v2, we're going to see another indication now, and becomes a lot more of a team effort and training as a team to make sure you strategize as a team, you know what plan you're going with, and you're wearing that beanie as a team, and it's just lovely stuff. And you have the good team really knows how to connect to each other, and Manny Knoxville and the rest of Brand Esports, they have shown a glimpse of a good performance in that aspect. Just being so friendly and so trusting of each other.
Yeah, they dominated the SEA region so hard. They looked head and shoulders above everyone else. They made AHQ Esports look like an amateur organization, right? In that beginning. But then since then, like, all the other teams have just performed better. They've grown together. Whereas I think Brand Esports have stagnated. They haven't got worse. They just didn't get better.
Yeah, and that's been the problem of Southeast Asia, maybe other than HQ. The other 3 teams basically are at the same level as they started in week 1. That's something you don't want to be proud of. You always want to have to evolve and adapt to new environments and to new situations. And when you see different teams doing different stuff, you have to learn from that and just evolve and transcend to a new level. And I feel like the Southeast Asian teams, mark my words, just counting out AHQ, the other 3 teams have failed to do so over 8 weeks of play, and I feel like that's the reason why they're at the bottom, and that's the reason why we have only 1 team out of Southeast Asia to go to the playoffs, and that is going to be HQ.
Yeah, but that could all change next season for SEA because, you know, they have all this experience now, and, you know, once the season's finished, they can, they can have their postmortems. They can look at what went wrong. They can say, okay, we didn't train enough, or we didn't practice enough, or we didn't have enough decks, or maybe the SEA teams in general just aren't as friendly with each other as the other regions. We've seen the Japanese teams.
Oh, yeah.
I see on Twitter all the time that we see like Fav Gaming and Ponos. They're really, really good friends.
Interacting.
They just smack talk each other on Twitter all day, every day, and they send congratulations when one gets 12 wins. They have this friendly atmosphere, but SEA, I think due to the nature of the way SEA is, right, it's a collection of different countries, finds it much harder to do that.
Different languages as well. There are multiple aspects where it's to kind of preventing the thorough communication and kind of the friendship across teams for SEA. Kind of an unfortunate situation there where the other teams are evolving as a group, helping each other out to get better. But definitely we haven't seen the same type of benefits for the side of Bren and the rest of Southeast Asian. Hopefully do a lot better next season because they're already decided to not go into the playoffs by any means. They will return in Season 2.
Yeah, I really do feel like it has actually shown that, like, the regions that kind of stick together, Korea and Japan, like, the Korean teams are very good friends with each other. Half of them have played together multiple times. Most of them are in the same clans, for example, as well. So, I mean, they have all this friendship between each other, but that golem is doing work down there on that tower. Is it going to take it out at this point? This is a massive, massive amount of damage. 560 remain, and that balloon is uncontested on the left-hand side.
They have nothing for this?
Mega Minion comes down right at the last minute, gets one drop. Boom.
Look at this. 23, 42 on the right tower, and now it's going to take one hit, 2276. Oh, it takes two hits. Great.
Yeah, Mega Minion does its job. 2 hits onto that tower, but it's not looking good. Once again for Bren Esports now. 560 on that on the right-hand side tower. I can't tell my left from my right. And 1464 on the left-hand side. This is not Bren Esports' best 2v2 performance. But there's the balloon. There's the golem. There's the Dart Prince.
The rage.
And the rage. That balloon is going to go to the tower, surely. Oh, and a freeze.
Defensively, wonderfully played there. Not even going to reach the tower. And look at that. Great stuff there. And it's going to allow it to go forward here and see what makes out of the golem. Once again, does damage in the end, doing more damage than the humongous rush that came in from Bren Esports. 14-11 on the left tower count now.
Yeah, I don't know if you were looking, but at that moment, that defensive freeze, Lewis had a smile from ear to ear that it actually worked. He was so happy that that defense was executed almost flawlessly.
Inch perfect of getting everything within that radius. And we know that radius is not huge for freeze, and sometimes you can just mess that up. And Lewis very composed there.
Look how much is here. 2 Dart Princes, Golem, Balloon, and there's the freeze again. And that means that Detonation Gaming's push is going to connect, but there's the rage this time. The bomb comes in.
Oh, still not going to connect though.
But the miner does connect, and it's down to 215. And the miner is uncontested, does take out that. 23 remaining. Is there a zap? Is there anything that can finish that tower? There's the log. Okay, we're going into overtime here.
But literally the right tower has been empty of any type of pressure coming in from Bren Esports.
Oh, but that doesn't matter at this point.
No, it's not.
Oh, it doesn't. And a waste of a freeze. That's good news now for Bren Esports. That gives them a little bit of an elixir advantage. But they got no damage to that tower. And this is a huge push.
Oh, the balloon.
Balloon. Dart Prince. There's Golemites there. Everything is coming in. Fireball. Death Bomb. Down to 311.
311. Thought it was a 38 from far away. There's going to be 311 they have to cover against 2017, not 2018, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, at some point, it does feel like this is an eye test because, like, the number is kind of small. Does get one drop. And there's the Death Bomb as well. Poison comes in and a zap. It's going to be enough to finish it off. There's the log. Not enough for Bren Esports this time. However, if they'd have played with the same consistency as they did in that last minute, I feel like Bren Esports would have took it. Their intensity was massive. They were going forward all the time. Of course, you don't have double elixir for the whole game. This isn't challenge.
I mean, you're looking at basically just looking at through how that first golden push made such a big effort from Lewis and Koo, and Detonation Gaming, they have relied upon this 2v2 duo for multiple great efforts being played there, and Lewis and Koo delivers once again that game one, getting that really good golden push on the first rotation, and the second rotation became a lot easier when the balloon was just left defenseless, getting that single drop quite easily there. Gonna get a timeout from Brand Esports though before we get to resume on the match.
Yeah, so they're going to take a minute here. They clearly do want to win this. I mean, you wouldn't take a timeout if you just wanted to go home, right? So, Brent Esports, can they bring it back from here? What do you think?
I mean, looks like a clean sweep to me if I've ever seen one. And Manny Knoxville and Jai, they've got to collect something together. And if the deck does go right, if they heavily counter Lewis and Koo's deck, for example, then maybe yes. But otherwise, I just feel like Lewis and Koo, just along with all the Japanese teams right now, look at Five Gaming getting a clean sweep 2-0, 2-0, Detonation Gaming already getting 2-0 on the 1v1, and now we're going to 2v2. It just feels like the momentum is now over. The momentum is not there anymore for Southeast Asia. Really nothing to play for. And for the side of Lewis and Koo, just having fun, the smiles on their faces. And of course, the Mainland China, they want to try something experimental, but at the same time, they don't want to go out in a clean sweep as formerly one of the best teams in their own region.
Yeah, their fall has been a bit painful to watch, I think, especially as like the other regions, as we said before, continue to grow, they continue to adapt. But the SEA teams just didn't do that, and I feel like SEA had so much potential in the beginning.
Yeah.
We were talking early on, like, we thought Korea was the weakest region. SEA looked to be better than Korea, and then Japan was on top. That's what we were saying, and that's how we thought this was going to play out.
And so far, it's just looking like currently at week 8, before we head into the wild card, it seems like Korea and Japan are indistinguishable in terms of the skill difference. And if Korea gets still this pace going and at this pace, they might just get better in Japan, but we're going to find out in following weeks. But for the meantime, we're on our last game, potentially, because this match point between Lewis and Koo, if they do win out this next one, it is going to be game over. And last time we're going to see Brent Esports until we get to Season 2, and it should be a sad story, but I wonder what we're going to make of it.
Here's the barrel deck for Brent Esports. The deck we've seen quite a lot from the Japanese teams, including that Rascal. So, what are we going to see here? Will Brent Esports be able to do what hasn't been done so far, which is beat Japanese teams with their own 2v2 deck?
Look at this. The Mega Minion. Easy. 3. 13-33 on the count. See the Dark Goblin just trying to get some poke damage on. Not even gonna allow it.
Yeah, that's not where you want to put your Dark Goblin. Dark Goblins are so much better on the defense, and then they push to offense.
I mean, it's
you
good
never want to put it at the bridge.
It's good cycling because it does decent damage on equal level towers and even the arrows there. But I mean, what are we gonna get? Because I felt like the arrow would have been better over to the Rascal Girl. Just my opinion on things, but you know that Dark Goblin on the bridge makes a little bit of sense because it does about a couple hundred damage just on one round for 3 elixirs. That's not that bad. It's doing much more than any type of spell that gets you that range.
Yeah, but I honestly just think the Dark Goblin is much better as a defensive tool.
For cycling, I think it's not bad, but we can have a continued discussion upon this because I think it's an important one because sending out a unit on bridge that's so frail like that.
Perfect freeze there by Brent Esports, just making sure that push doesn't get through. They're not playing. They have such little life left on that bottom left-hand tower. And there again, this is the problem with the Dark Goblin. Putting it at the bridge. Look where that is now. Look how much work it's doing defensively. If they'd have had 2 Dark Goblins there, that Dark Goblin would have been full health.
Definitely could have been.
I really feel like the bridge Dark Goblin is not as good as a defensive Dark Goblin.
Of course. I mean, that definitely is a point being made, but to say that maybe the Dark Goblin is useless at the bridge, it's not worth the 3 elixir usage, that can be thought of just a little bit. I think my opinion on things is that it definitely serves its purpose just a little bit on that.
Yeah, they played the Princess there at the bridge as well. It's like their devices are stuck on one setting, which is bridge. We see the Inferno Tower dropped here on the defense, but 469 remain on that tower. There's the bomb. The rocket misses the Mega Minion. You could see in Manny Knoxville's face. That's not what he wanted to happen. And again, that tower is going low. The poison damage does tick through. Another log there. Everything is just going perfect for Detonation Gaming, Lewis and Koo. And Manny Knoxville and Jai, they feel like it's already over. Jai is touching his headphones like, I'm ready to take these things off. There's the last rocket. Detonation Gaming take it 2-0 again here.
And a clean sweep across the board, as if we've never had a faster broadcast than that. 2 matches on the day and 2-0-2-0.
And they were very convincing, very, very convincing wins. Not even slightly competitive.
I mean, we are at the last day. We are at the last 2 matches to decide who the better teams were, and well, of course, which was the better region. We definitely got the clear answer to that. Japan, in one way or another, are better than Southeast Asia as a whole. Of course, AHQ is a strong contender in that region, but otherwise, the other 3 teams, while looking pretty strong at the beginning of the season, have kind of remained stagnant, and they are still at the same level while the other teams have increased. Now the comparison between the teams look a lot larger.
Yeah, but I think AHQ Esports being the last hope for SEA, I mean, they are incredible right now. They have played such good Clash Royale that I think they have a very strong chance of making it to the final, because we have seen time and time again that AHQ Esports rarely lose. Sure, they lost to Korea last week, but before that, they were unstoppable. They had the same run as Sandbox, where they lost all their domestic games, but then just dominated the region, the international scene, and suddenly, you know, now they're contenders.
Similar storyline between the 2 teams is what we're getting. But what we're getting here is that Destination Gaming, although they're not going to make it to the playoffs, and this will be the last time we'll get to see these guys, they've had a fantastic season. I feel like especially these 2, Lewis and Koo, have gotten so many good wins for their team. And it's going to be such a hopeful thing to see them back in Season 2 and just see how they do.
Yeah, the future looks good for them.
You'll see how they interview with Detonation Gaming after that win.
With Detonation. Lewis, how was it today?
今回新加入の天ぷら選手を1セット目に持って
This time we had Tempura play the first set.
初参戦ということでその中で
He had his first win.
2セット練習できたのは本当に大きいと思っていて
The 2 consecutive wins is very big for us.
来シーズンの励みになるようにしていきたいです
Yeah, it's very thankful to our team.
いいライバルできましたね
That was a good
今回は
game.
天ぷらさんが天ぷら選手が1セット目に行くってことで
The Tempura played for the
前々
first
から
set.
していたのを見ていたんで
And I've seen him practice. And he pulled it off today, so I'm very proud. How do you see
そうですね
Tempura?
やっぱ得意デッキバルーンデッキっていうのがあるんですけど
He has
それ以
his
上にやっぱ
deck
使え
that
る
he
幅っていう
likes,
のが僕以上に断然広いので
but he also
そういう
has a
点で
very wide
負けない
range
よ
of
うに
decks
してい
he
きたい
can
と思いま
use.
す
切磋琢磨して、両方がね、ワンオンワンで活躍することによって、シーズンでは、いい成績
Both of you guys were able to play very well in 1v1 now.
いただきたいと思います。
Good luck to you.
コウ選手
Cole?
2on2 は手慣れたものですか
2v2, you are very used to it. Yeah, with collaboration today, yes, perfect.
練習はもう本当時間かけても
Practice, we spend a lot of time and we put a lot of
や
effort.
りきれなかったです本当に
これジャイアントの採用というのはどういったところから来
Use
ま
of
した
Giant, where did it come from?
いろんなデッキを試していて
We try a lot of different
ブレイン
decks.
スポーツにはジャイアントデッキが一番
With Burning Sports, I thought the Giant deck would work very well.
新たな策略、あとは試すという
New
ところが重要になって
strategy
きますけれども、素晴らしい
and experimentations.
このセット2でした。ありがとうございます。
That was very good two set. Thank you.
鮮やかなデビュー戦、天ぷら選手いかがでしたか
Tempura, how was
自分
it?
にとっては初戦でとっても緊張したんですけど
It was our first game, so I was very
今まで
nervous.
にない緊張でしたか
いやまあ
Was it
まあ
unexpected nervousness?
大丈夫
Oh,
です
yes, I'm okay, I'm okay.
そんなでもなかった
緊張はしましたけどそんなでもなく
No, nervous, but not too much.
に出場するというふうに決定してから、少し
So when you found out
準備とかはしましたか
that when you were playing today, well, how did you prepare?
まあいろんなデッキを使えるように
I've been practicing so that I can use wide
デッ
range.
キの幅を広くしていくと、シーズン2に向けて何か意気込みはあります
For
か
season 2, anything you want to
そうです
say?
ねチームの足を引っ張らないように頑張りたいと
I
思
want
い
to make sure so that I don't.
ぜひね、
I can support my
チーム
team.
を引っ張っていく存在にね、なっていただきたいなと思
Yes,
って
please make sure you'll be able to do that. Congratulations, Detonation.
You know, everybody smiles when they see Tempura. The whole studio went wild when he was doing his interview. He's just that kind of guy. Just induces happiness, induces lovely, delicious food, and that's what he's all about, man. And Tempura gets his debut win and looks very good as Detonation Gaming ends their season on a pause.
Yeah, I mean, winning today in such convincing fashion, it gives a lot of encouragement going forward. The organization will look at their team and go, okay, we've got good building blocks here. Let's continue to improve this team.
I mean, they'll have like a month or so, even longer, just to see how it goes, because Detonation Gaming may just be a really good team next season. Maybe Tempura playing him a lot more in 1v1 could be a case, because their 2v2 play has never been a problem with Loose Coup. They had a winning record despite the whole team having a losing record overall. Loose and Coup has always kept up the consistency, and this team can be a lot more reliable in theory.
Yeah, just confirming that Fav Gaming do make it through to the playoffs. They will be playing, I believe, Sandbox. So, I think Sandbox are going to win that. But we can look at the standings now. Game with top of the whole division, the whole region here, with 8 wins and 3 losses. Kingzone Dragon X second, but they are top of the Korean region, which does seed them highly in the playoffs. AHQ Esports Club do win out the SEA region, but they finish 5th overall with 6 and 5. One thing we gotta say, these tables are incredibly close.
It's very stacked, and we're gonna get the last team on their 5 gaming, the 4th team to make it to the wildcards. Congratulations to these guys, as they're going to be trying to go up against the top team with Sandbox to see if they can get past the next round. But the initial question we were asking Simon before the regular season began, what's the order, categorical order, in terms of how the regions collide? And we said Japan might be the first, and Korea might be second, maybe third, and Southeast Asia just a little bit in the mix there. We got our answer today. Japan is the best region right now in Clash Royale League Asia, with Korea coming at a close second, and Southeast Asia right now, unfortunately, at that bottom spot.
Yeah, Sandbox versus Fav Gaming, Ponos versus OG and Entus. Once again, it is Korea versus Japan for this wild card. Then we have the playoffs themselves. So the winner of the wild card starts at the bottom of the tree. They start against AHQ Esports. The winner of that goes on to play Kingzone Dragon X, and then the winner of that goes on to play Game With in the finals. And Game With definitely deserve that final boss status, right?
And that's what they're getting. Game With has been the best team in all of Clash Royale League Asia. It's wonderful to say that now, because after the regular season, after everything has been done and over with, Conference Division now done and done, Game With is your best team that's going to be waiting in the finals in that throne for someone to take down. Their challenger will be coming through, but it takes multiple weeks to get through that play. We're going to start with the wildcards next week.
Yeah, I mean, we were saying very early on that Game With were really good with Shun, but Game Without Shun were not as good. But they have shown that that was just a temporary blip on their run, and even without Shun, they are still an incredible team.
But with Shun, they're a lot better team. That's the thing what we want to keep, and they're just a great team, and Game With is your best team for now for the regular season. We're going to have the wild cards to see one step at a time who their challenger is going to be. So join us next Saturday. It's not going to be Friday. Saturday will be our only broadcast for next week as we come back for the wild cards, and we will see you then.